Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update with new watches daily. If you love this watch, see it and buy it on thewatchbox.com. Today we discuss the second generation Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Safari. The first, launched back in 2007, helped to popularize the themes collection, or the colored themes Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore line within a line, as well as the use of the Hornback alligator strap, which was first used prolifically on the original Safari. The Safari 2 that you see on my wrist bowed in 2014 as part of a across-the-board revision to the 42mm offshore collection, but it is still the same size case on the wrist. So 42mm from 9 to 3, but not including the crown, chronograph pushers, or guards. It's not as thick as you'd imagine. At only 14.5 millimeters thick, this watch actually jumped out at me as surprisingly viable with a cuff. Lug to lug, it's a bomber, make no mistake. This is where a Royal Oak or an Offshore really stretches its wings. 54 millimeters lug to lug, but if you include those two double plots on both sides, which are not completely downwardly flexible, it does flare out to a monster 57.3 across the wrist, which is why I would probably recommend this watch for wrists no smaller than 14.5 centimeters in circumference. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, the watch wears just fine, and you'll appreciate the quality of the strap that AP has equipped. First, strap fixed to a case with screws. I love that. Spring bars should be banned on watches costing over 4 figures. The strap with that hornback flare on the top and a sheer cut with a thick cross section, brown large rectangular scale alligator leather with the hornback bolstering, and then a slightly contrasting stitch. It's not a white stitch, it's a cream or ecru to match the dial. And then there is an AP standard stainless steel pin buckle for easy on-the-fly adjustability. These straps, while quite robust and stiff, are also hardy and have a reputation for long-wearing durability. You can see that this is the very image of a Royal Oak or Offshore. No corners are cut in terms of finish on the Offshore. There's the same amount of hand beveling, satin finishing, and sharp crease execution that you'll find on a standard Royal Oak. So it's big, but it's not a brute. This one also has measures of class to match its mass. You'll even appreciate that there's a very narrow hairline bevel that runs across the shoulders of the crown guards, and that's the kind of thing that can get lost in online photography, but which absolutely dazzles in person. Also note that the flare of that bevel on the flanks of the lugs expands perfectly and then disappears as it marginalizes at the mid-case. For 2004, reprofiled chronograph pushers, reprofiled crown guards, and the banishing of synthetics, as the previous polymer coatings for the chronograph pushers and the crown shoulder have been replaced by ceramic, black ceramic. Look at the attention to detail. The bevel on the satin finished chronograph pusher is itself polished, so there's double finish of ceramic, no less, on a chronograph pusher, and that's just the chronograph pusher. You can see two different finishes on the crown shoulder, and that's before we even get to the bezel. Polished and rounded on its flank, satin finished vertically across its top. As with all Offshores, the bezel gasket is fully expressed. It was a hairline styling element on the original Royal Oak. On an Offshore, the bezel gasket plays a prominent structural as well as aesthetic role. Jumping out a little bit, you can see that the dial has in many respects inverted the color scheme of the original Safari. So you have a brown bronze metallic tachymeter scale outboard acting as a chapter ring to add depth, and then you have the same color on each of the sunken sub-registers, which have polished chapter rings themselves. And then there is a Mega Tapisserie stamped hobnail dial. It's stamped on the Offshore, it's pantograph cut on the standard Royal Oak, with all applique white gold Arabic numerals and white gold hands for all registers, with chronograph registers featuring white lacquer to distinguish them from the civil time. You have a magnifier that is underneath the crystal. Critically, it's built into the dial so you don't get a Rolex Cyclops eye profile. And then you have a date with a quick set. There's a hacking or stop seconds function, and the chronograph is actuated using those ceramic pushers, controlling another innovation of 2014, or at least the caseback display sapphire is one of the innovations of 2014. This, and I'm going to turn it over so you can see the balance because that's always the business end of a movement, is Audemars Piguet manufactured caliber 3126 with a Dubois Depraz 3840 vertical clutch module, 365 parts, 59 joules, 22 karat winding mass, bidirectional, because AP didn't want the unidirectional wobble of a 7750. They didn't want that feel, but they use unlubricated, high-efficiency, long-wearing ceramic rotor bearings to recoup the lost efficiency caused by the bidirectional winding. 21,600 abrasion per hour balance with a Gyromax free-sprung architecture and a full bridge, the two features making for exceptional shock resistance. You have that hacking restop seconds in the quick set date, and a 50 to 55 hour power reserve with all of this, blessed with a robust 100 meters of water resistance thanks to the screw-down crown. This is a timepiece that represents the evolution of a modern classic. The Safari 2 you can see and purchase on the watch box. Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Safari 2. Loomed. Barely. But it's there.